Everybody, and welcome to Sports and Ricardo Lightborn. Let's get right to it. It's a midterm break, and the Ministry of Education is hoping to have its student athletes return to a life of normalcy as soon as possible. After Hurricane Matthew, let's go to Kimberly Mullings for an update.
The Ministry of Education's primary focus at this point is students returning to school and getting back on track academically and then athletically. Northern Bahamas School Sports Administrator Nora Spain.
We've got to get them settled in academically without taking away from them what the athletic side of it. So those are things that we definitely going to be looking into and communicating with the sports unit in Nassau and see how we can get it done. But we definitely, I think most psychologists and psychiatrists will want you to try to keep things as normal as possible, try to return the way of life as quickly as we possibly can.
With public schools still out, Bain says they now have an idea as to when things could pan out for the remainder of the school year. He spoke with Grand Bahamas Secondary School Association President Kenton Roll.
We're going to attempt to complete the volleyball season, and once we get that completed, there's an intent to try to, we'll have to downscale it, but we're going to still try to do a Northern Bahamas Championship for volleyball. But instead of, we're probably going to include all the schools to give the young people something to do.
And then there's basketball. Administrator Bain says the focus is on infrastructure. He touched on the first tournament, the Tabernacle Thanksgiving Classic.
The organizers, they are doing everything in their power to still make that happen in Grand Bahama. But we're definitely going to take a look at the gymnasiums and make sure that they are playable, that we can play those events in one of the gymnasium.
And as for the other age-old local classics,
we still want to do the Tip-Off Classic. And I know everybody, the young people, the coaches, everybody look forward to that every year because it's such an exciting time for the young men in particular as it relates to basketball and then them playing for the prestigious rings. And so we've got to definitely make sure that we pull that off.
Kimberly Mullings, ZNSO Sports.
Well, folks, Hurricane Matthew left behind a trail of devastation and destruction and actually stopped the activities as far as sports in Grand Bahama. Hurricane Matthew severely damaged the fencing of the YMCA tennis courts and also the planned venue for the Focal Junior Tennis Tournament that was planned for this weekend. The Grand Bahama Tennis Association and the YMCA are looking at getting the juniors back on court after the repairs have been completed. Now, the tennis courts are open daily now and during the operation hours, and the school program will return once school gets back in normal operation. The YMCA Saturday Youth Program is a go. Also, soccer, swimming, aerobics, and the fitness center is open. Hurricane Matthew was only actually a sports stumbling block. The real sports spirit of Grand Bahama is now coming and is going to be coming out in a stunning way. Well, the new sports facility in Abaco will have a special feature. It's also a feature is going to be a pretty good one as far as the soccer field is concerned. And that's all thanks to FIFA. You see, the Football Association of the Bahamas also planned to have the financial commitment investment at the Abaco Sports Complex, and also it's long overdue. It's a wealth of soccer talent over there in Abaco, and Assistant Secretary General, that is Arnold Miller, knows that also important that the construction of that new facility is on point.
We're going to have a soccer turf field, which I think is either going to be completely turf or partly turf, partly grass. That's easier to maintain, easier to for wear and tear purposes, and that will be used for local events, potentially national events and international events. So basically, we want to try to increase the level of soccer within the community by providing the right facility for continued growth and use.
Also, the Isle of Abaco is preparing for a sports revolution, and it comes when the search for talent in the islands lands in Abaco. The new state-of-the-art sports complex planned for Abaco will be a welcome addition for sports development. The children of Abaco are talented. Example, Hope Time Primary School. Nick Dean of IBS designed the complex with the residents of Abaco in mind.
The idea was to develop active and passive park spaces that could be used both for developing emerging athletes, identifying athletes, and giving all the athletes a level playing field, so to speak, so that they can enhance their athletic prowess and contribute more towards our national teams. as well as put them in a position to be able to acquire scholarships in the U.S. and elsewhere.
Jeff Beckles of the National Sports Authority pointed to the national sports objective and the importance of facilities in the Family Island.
As the Bahamas continues to excel, we want to try to keep pace with our history. We have a great history in track and field and in swimming, but we want to make sure, though, that the future is bright by providing opportunities for our young people. We've been very Nassau-centric in terms of looking for our athletes, but we believe that we have talent in Abaco, we have talent in Grand Bahama, we have talent in Bimini, we have talent in Long Island, Cat Island, and throughout the Bahamas. One of the ways for us to identify the talent is to ensure that if we create the facilities for our young people to play in and run in and swim in, chances are we could pick up on that talent early enough to put them in a system, get them through the Sports Academy of the Bahamas and on through to a point where they can be trained and developed to compete nationally, to continue the Bahamas' prowess in athletics.
The push to provide equal sports opportunities for the children of the Family Islands is essential to nation building. Maybe now the One Bahamas concept will become a reality rather than just a regular saying. And yeah, Buddy Hield had a pretty good night. As you know, the Pelicans finish their preseason. They open up next week, Wednesday. Buddy Buckets in New Orleans, ready to rock and roll. That's your sports heading into a great weekend.